It worked for no reason. Hi, everybody.
We're in.
We were expecting technical difficulties because our music bot refused to join Discord, and instead, Streamlabs decided, "Don't worry, guys, I got it," and just
We
fixed
got you
it
covered.
for me. So that's great.
That's really good.
It threw me for a loop a little bit. Welcome to DM Writer's Room Dungeon. I just forgot it immediately. Dungeon Dash. I was supposed to say Dungeon Drift. Fucking.
Yeah.
Go from here to Tokyo. Go to Tokyo. Okay.
I mean, we could. So
We
that's
could
not our
change it.
plan for today.
But at some point.
We could dungeon drift where everyone just like for the creation of it, everyone said like we go in a row like with one word each. Like drift horse.
Drift Horse. Yeah, it's pretty good.
We can't do this. If we wanted to play another D&D game, we could name it Dungeons and Drifting and somehow make it a Tokyo Drift spin-off.
The first thought that came to my mind was we do this same stream, but we come up with a different dungeon each time that is inspired in one way or another by a different film in the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
Which could be fun at some point. It would involve a pretty radical power slope, which I guess is good for D. Wait a minute.
That's perfect.
Wait. We might have to full stop and do a bit lining up the Fast and Furious movies with the tiers of play in D&D as we move up through the tiers is pretty good.
Follow up.
Have they ever been to space?
Yeah, they have.
They have. When?
They strap a rock. Ludacris rides a rocket car to space in the latest one. They strap a space rocket to a car and Ludacris goes to space.
Oh my god.
Hear me out. Our next one-page adventure is Dungeons and Drifting, and that's where we get to really flex it. All right.
So,
That might be a good idea.
I have another one-page idea where it's another drift horse. The game is played one word at a time.
Oof. If your group isn't quick on the draw, though, it's rough. It can hurt.
Incredibly rough.
For those who don't know, Drift Horse is an inside joke from me and Michael's.
None of them can know. It's not.
No,
it's
impossible.
from a non-streamed campaign. These two dinks used one spell. I'm a fun-loving DM, and they wanted to use the same illusion spell to disguise both of them. And I said yes, but they had to talk by trading off words in unison.
Mm-hmm.
They proceeded to roll amazing persuasion checks and like make friends with all the people they were trying to talk to. It was just deeply silly.
Mm-hmm. It was great.
So, with that out of the way, things that we're not doing today is all that. Welcome to DM Writer's Room, Dungeon Drift. Today, instead of coming with each of us having an idea or continuing on our last segment of creating a full adventure path, instead we're going back to our roots and we're building a dungeon, baby. But we're going even further into our roots by doing our miniaturized mansion game. But from that being a level 1 game, we're going to make this like a level 15, level 16 game. We're making it from scratch. We're making it in an hour and a half. Ethan, if you want to go over the bones of our last adventure versus what we're thinking today, take it away.
Yeah, so we thought it would be fun to make a level 1 adventure because in D&D most level 1 adventures are bad. And so we wanted to just sort of work on that and see what we could do to make something that would be fun to play through. But it had to be something you could play with like 4 random friends in a single day, in like a couple hours. And so we went with a single 5 encounter day, minimizing no long rests and reducing the chance of short rests to pretty near 0. And so the idea that we came up with is somewhere out in the world there is a lich who has created a soul stone, and when they were choosing where to hide it, they hid it in a little miniature dungeon. That was the concept that we came with. That's all that we worked off of. From there, we ended up placing it in like a little toy house. We came up with a series of traps that were all sort of themed around the same energy. As we have been moving into trying to get that into like something that we are going to publish, which should be happening hopefully in the next, month or two here, we added more character to it, and our anonymous lich became the toy maker, became Corellin the toy maker. The idea being that this is a lich that is obsessed with toys, because we needed to justify why are a bunch of level 1 traps in the way? Why is it a riddle? And stuff like that is very level 1, and it's that the lich thinks it's fun and doesn't, and everything else is sort of squandered. And so the concept for that adventure is half a world away, the great heroes of the realm are ambushing the lich. And in that moment, they send you a signal, and you have to dash into the mini dungeon and destroy the soul stone of the lich before they have the chance to react, so that hopefully everything can kind of click into place right, so that you destroy the soul stone and then they kill the lich and we come out on top. And the idea that naturally follows is, so we have to write the other adventure, right? We have to know what happens with the heroes on the other side of the continent or other side of the world that are fighting the toy maker. Michael, what's up?
So I have a thought for setting already.
Great.
That could be fun. It's like Baba Yaga, but umpteenth. Baba Yaga has the house on legs. It's the
walking
construct.
hut.
Yeah. He's Master of Toys. He's made a walking castle or walking fortress or something.
That's
like that.
really good.
It's got that really big turnkey in the back. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Incredibly strong start, Michael. I'm a huge fan right off the... I keep accidentally... I'm trying to get all my documents open, and so the stream faces keep going dark. My bad, everybody. So I guess if you want to, you can absolutely chime in. That is something that we encourage on this show. We like it when people
100%.
give us things that we have to deal with. The only thing that I will say is that some of this is somewhat written in stone, so we do need to keep some of it around. But if a good idea strikes you, go ahead. So I'm going to get a couple of important things together. One is we know we want to do 4 to 6 encounters. 2, we know roughly what the vibe is here. I'm going to use the CR calculator from MCDM's new book, Flea Mortals. Let's shoot for... We need to be at least CR 13. We need to be at least level 13, because liches are CR 21. And contrary to the... Right? Or are they lower? I can never remember. Canon lich is CR 21. So we actually need to be at least level 15. We could go a little higher. We could go a little lower and drop it down to 14. Contrary to popular belief, the math for doing it in the book is a little screwy. Any DM who's ever tried to be like, the CR for my party fight needs to add up to 5, like to fight the party, is like, no, no, it doesn't. The party will murder every encounter they run into without breaking a single bead of sweat upon their brow. So
our group has proven that time and time again.
Let's call it, we either need to make a slightly weaker lich and land at level 14, or we can shoot the moon. So 14 or higher, 15 being what would naturally occur in the game. How do we feel?
I like it being a little like shoot the moon a little bit. That's why they need this double front attack.
Okay, so we can kick it up to like 16, 17? 19 and 20.
I would hard cap at 16.
Okay.
I wouldn't go any higher than 16.
So we're making a level 16 adventure. Do we want to assume 4 players or assume 6 or split the difference and go with 5?
Assume 4.
Yeah.
For 4 players. So the highest CR we are allowed to touch is 24, which won't come up. But we could if we wanted to. And our overall CR at level 16 is 7, 14. So per encounter, we've got a budget of a sick nasty 21 challenge rating to spend. So that's the money that we have to throw around. I will unfortunately have to bid my MCDM monsters goodbye, because I don't know if the two of you have that PDF easily accessible enough for us to build it with them. which is fine. And also, we want our wonderful listeners at home to not... Actually, you should go buy the book. But we're not going to base our whole stream off of one book that came out 2 weeks ago. Okay. So, we know what our last encounter is, right? It's somewhere between CR 21 and CR 26. Because the plain Lich stat block comes in at challenge rating 21. A Sararak, the great creator of the big dungeon. What's the dungeon that kills everybody?
I was thinking of it earlier.
Yeah, there's a dungeon that kills. So for the record, for you, those of you at home, there's a dungeon in a famous D&D dungeon that just kills. The Tomb of Horrors.
Yes,
is famously one of the most lethal dungeons in D&D, and it was created by the great Lich Sararak. Nobody knows where Sararak's soulstone is, and so the great theory is it is the Tomb of Horrors. Is that to die in the Tomb of Horrors is to be consumed by Sararak. Sararak is CR 23. And then at the top of the keep, we have my favorite Lich. We have Vecna, who comes in at a devastating CR 26. So we can't go that high. We gotta reel it in a little bit. We want to land somewhere between a Sararak and a Plain Lich. I'm tempted to say let's focus on getting a Plain Lich in there so that we have a couple of extra challenge rating to kick around.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we want to stick with the CR 21 or do we want to kick it down to like CR 15 through 18? I didn't have a problem with either. The Lich stat block's kind of a mess. We just need to keep it at least. We can't bring it down too much just because I don't want to lose power word kill. That's the only thing that I want to keep around. It's sort of it's a spell that players are unlikely to take, and because they're not unlikely to get to that level, and so it pretty much immediately presents the stakes of the fight, right? There is this chance that somebody is going to be killed outright upon arrival that in earlier levels is really disheartening. It's really annoying, right? It's going to make people, a little uncomfortable. But in a less, in this higher tier, you can bring somebody back from the dead like 5 times before it starts to matter.
I would say just have him be a plain Lich. I don't want too many add-ons in the final fight against him.
Yeah. We need at least a few, or he's going to die incredibly fast. Yeah. We need at least...
But if we make him too low, it's going to be too many add-ons, and it's going to feel less like you're fighting a Lich and more like you're fighting a bunch of shit.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm cool with that.
Let me see. Not a lot of stat blocks are kicking around with power word kill. I just wanted some perspective on what CR we had to play with. It doesn't really matter now. It sounds like we've sort of... Igoril, the Lord of Entropy, comes in at CR 23. Manshun, the man himself, comes in at CR 13. Has power word kill in the back pocket.
Wow.
That's power word stun. And Trobriand, a large construct, is sitting pretty at CR 22. So, I'm going to say I think that we should at least kick it down to like 19 or 20. Just because with a full party in the room and only like 3 CR of wiggle room, it's just not really, the math's not really going to add up very well.
Okay. Yeah, I think CR 20.
Okay, so we'll go CR 20, and that gives us, he can have either one powerful creature or maybe like a bunch of idiots would be a fun time. We are sort of doing, with the toy maker theme, that would maybe make sense if it was like, if it had a bunch of Tinker toys that are all, mono drones. Okay. Well, in that case, Spencer, you were right out the gate. We'll just do CR 21. Thank you all for listening to us talk in a big circle and then come back to, let's just use the Lich. Okay.
That's DM.
Yeah.
You were just throwing ideas out. Baby.
We are going to have to make a couple of changes because there is no toy maker over here. That is the only things we're really going to have to do. So we know our last encounter is a big scary encounter where somebody is CR 21. We have 3 CR worth of fun to interact with, so we'll probably just stick a construct that feels relevant onto the tag end of that. So let me grab construct CR 2 through 4. We can go a little too high, right?
It can be a little high.
Yeah, if we got a fun force, I'm cool with that.
Or we
You
could
can
throw
put a
in
black pudding in there.
we could throw in 2 3s and just kind of have a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
We've got auto gnomes. We've got clockwork horror, which makes sense. We've got glasswork golem. That's kind of cool. It just
These are all 3s.
between 2 and 4.
Okay.
Glasswork Golem, I think, is pretty cool because it's like his finest creation, something that he doesn't want out in the world because it's so perfect, but I know you're gonna destroy it.
Yeah. And it's CR2, which means we could stick a couple of them around. And they have regeneration, which is huge. The low HP needs to get made up for relatively quickly. And then there's, of course, the CR2 living doll. A little on the nose, honestly. Maybe a little too close to home.
That's definitely in another room. Some living dolls, just a bunch of them.
Yeah. Okay, so we have our glasswork golem, and then we'll just make sure that we stick an ability on our lich that is mend horror, right? Just something that lets us do that. So a joke that quickly emerged in our playtest that we ended up sort of sticking with was that the lich the toy maker turns the souls of those that he consumes into monsters. Is that enough? Is that fun enough that we want to try to like roll that in somewhere, or is it more of just like a flavor thing? I'm trying to start with what we know, right? We know we have to fight a lich. We know that it has toys, and we know that it is playing with souls. Those are the 3 things that we know.
The only problem I have is for the lawful stupid types to be like, I can't kill this doll. An innocent person is inside of it.
Yeah,
That
that's
sort of
fair.
RP could get a little questionable.
I think that it could be he takes he doesn't take the souls, but he takes their likeness pretty good.
A great thing for the glasswork golems to do, to like reflect
nice.
the faces of people that have died. That's a really good idea. We are also going to fix one of my favorite typos in Dungeons and Dragons, which is if you scroll down on the lich stat block, it says quite clearly, soul sacrifices. A lich must periodically feed souls. It does this using the imprisonment spell. And then you scroll up to the lich's list of spells, and I'm looking at the 9th level spells that the lich has, and imprisonment isn't one of them. The lich cannot cast the spell that it needs to live.
That's funny.
But for sure, we came in clutch. We've got prestidigitation just in case. In case that comes up, we've got that. Woo! Ah, that was close. Good thing we have detect thoughts. Oof, that could have been bad. It's truly so annoying. All right, so we need 4 or 5 more encounters that aren't fighting a lich and the lich's favorite creation, which is 2 glasswork golems that do like a little marionette dance. That's going to be great and creepy. What are some standouts?
I'm a little tempted to make this more than a 1-day shtick. Not a super dungeon, but a large dungeon, sizable. Maybe it's a few days in here, a couple days to get through. Take a couple long rests inside. What's the read?
That's fine. It just means I have to go change the other adventure to not say ambush. The heroes will begin their assault on the Toymaker's fortress. Will just be a sort of polite change. So it's a fortress of an evil lich. Getting a long rest in is gonna be a challenge. Not impossible. It just means that somebody is bringing camping equipment into the Toymaker's dungeon.
But we've already established the Toymaker does think of this basically as a game.
Yeah.
Having like a campfire room that's always burning where the party can take a rest, I think is it's on brand for it.
So, okay, so let's do 2 adventuring days, and halfway through, you are literally going to walk into a big room and fight a big creature, and if you succeed, the visage of the toy maker will appear and be like, "Congratulations on your success, adventurers! Your reward!" And like a table with food rises up out of the ground.
Could it be like some like flame elemental that turns into the campfire?
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. We could definitely do something with a flame elemental. We can get all of those sick, nasty spell blocks that nobody ever gets to use. Welcome to the party, gentlemen. We really should avoid any stat block below like CR3. I know we have we sort of locked ourselves in a corner with the glassware golems, but everywhere else, the players are putting out that much damage. Like cantrips at this level are putting out, consistent like 10 to 12 damage a strike. So if you've got some like 30 HP, if you got 2 monsters with like 60 HP, not for long you don't. Not for long. They are gonna go the ghost pretty quick, especially when we have a long rest sort of sitting in the center. So let me kick things up. I want a floor of CR6 and I want a tower of CR24. There are no monsters that are designed to be fought solo, really, except for those with like impressive legendary actions. So I suppose that is always an option.
So let's talk. I think a fun way to do it would be, what are some things that somebody in the mind of childlike wonder and sadism combined would create? Because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a guy who's really fucked up, but does consider it a fun thing. Like the Cenobites, right? It's pretty similar to that from Hellraiser.
Yeah. The Hellraiser Cenobites think that they are helping. They believe that they are doing what they needed to do. Okay.
So in that mental space, my first thought is like, getting inside, there's 2 sphinxes that ask you a riddle. You get it wrong, you're gonna get attacked by these 2 big sphinxes. You gotta beat their asses and get inside.
Yeah, we know.
Get it right, you just go in.
We know we want the riddle. Gotta have the riddle. I think
gotta have the sphinx's riddle.
I need a Frankenstein in here.
Yeah, for sure.
I need a stitched up meat monster pretty much instantly, or this is just isn't gonna pan out for me. So we've got like sort of the stitched up, something that resembles a flesh golem with a little bit more a flesh construct. I can't remember what the new terminology is for golem.
I think we can use the word construct. It would probably cover it.
Sure.
Besides that, I'm thinking like gladiator pit over a pool of lava. Weird, fun thing. What else?
The Sphinx is, I got it pulled up right now, the Gyna Sphinx.
There's 2. There's the Gyna Sphinx and the Andro Sphinx.
So if we do 2 Gyna Sphinxes, it would be challenge 11 and 11, so it'd be 22 total.
They're 15.
Gyna's 11.
11, yeah, they're 11.
So 11 and 11, 22. That's great. And we can do the classic. One of us always lies, and the other always tells the truth. And there's 2 doors. You open the wrong door, they attack. I mean, come on. That writes itself. Effortless. We are going to look up how that. We are going to have to look up how that puzzle works, because I don't know.
What would he tell me? I think is what you're supposed to say.
Yeah, but I still
know.
I still don't get it.
And that's the rule. We write that down. Do not let your players look it up. This is a famous riddle. If they don't know it, they don't know it.
They're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. If anybody tries to look it up, they attack.
Oof. Sorry, I'm taking a look at our future elementals, and we could just jump right to the top. Imix, the eternal flame, the all-consuming fire, the prince of evil fire. For those of you who know the long history of the Dungeon of Elemental Evil in Adventure in first and then second and then third and now fifth edition, Imix is one of the princes of the apocalypse that is sort of tangentially related to that. So we do the classic riddle. The players all have a great time or hate it, and I want to be a member of the group that just goes, I immediately attack. It's like, oh, it's a riddle. That's great. I shoot my crossbow at the Sphinx. Like, this is nothing. I'm not doing this. Power word kill. No more Sphinx. Bye. It's good stuff. All right. So you walk up to the front door. You answer this riddle. Love that. You get to another room, and we need a fight in room 2 because you can bypass room 1's fight. So I need a fight you can't bypass unless you're extremely clever. So I'm like, I've got Evil Beauty and the Beast furniture on the mind. I have stitched up horrible monster on the brain. I'm trying to think of things that children are scared of. Like maybe that would be later. Our fire elemental, is it like a big furnace? You know how furnaces like make spooky noises. That's fair. What is some other? I like the idea of like animated brooms that are multiplying. A lot of the like bump, bum, 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 bum. We're probably gonna have to make it. We're gonna have to make it sort of legally distinct. So I don't know. It's a bunch of push brooms that do it.
There's like a shadow assassin.
There's a couple of shadow assassins. Yeah. There's invisible stalkers, shadows. Yeah. We have one. We have some proprietary technology in the form of Nowhere, our homebrew.
Invisible stalker is CR6, so it's within our parameter.
Ooh, just throwing a bunch like a...
Mm-hmm. A totally pitch black room, magical darkness, 4...
Well, it doesn't.
Stalkers.
It doesn't even need to be, right?
Honestly, no. Stalker's invisible.
It's just invisible.
Summoner.
You just can't see it.
That's fun.
Oh, they're elementals.
But wouldn't it be even funnier if they deal with the magical darkness and they still don't see what they're trying to fight?
How do you deal with magical true sight?
Yeah, there's true sight. There's a couple ways around it.
Yeah. And we would need a source for it because it needs to come from somewhere. I mean, it doesn't. It's D&D, but we should. We want to be fair here.
A big rock in the middle of the room.
All right, so that's going to be 6, 12, 24. We can just roll with 4 invisible stalkers attacking the party.
That works for me. Now, hear me out. I would love it if they opened up the door, they walk through, the Sphinxes don't attack them, but they do within about 5 feet hit a trap. Instantly, because that's hilarious.
So, okay. So because we're playing such a high-level adventure, and because it's something we would have to produce, we can just put upon our own shoulders that we're going to have to do a map. Spencer has immediately created the funniest possible situation, which is it's a giant, completely empty 30 by 30 airplane hangar with a door on the other side you can see. The floor absolutely covered in traps that you can't see until you step on them. And then 4 fly 50 feet, hover invisible stalkers that can't be knocked prone start attacking the party. And when the party tries to run, they are running over dozens of traps in all directions.
God.
Hilarious.
That's so mean.
Oh, yeah, but isn't it funny?
This is our Tomb of Horrors. This is our Tomb of Horrors. This is
Tomb of Whimsy.
Tomb of Whimsy. Nope. All right. Writing it up top. Welcome to the Tomb of Whimsy. And you're like, I do not feel whimsical.
This is not whimsical.
Smash cut later. 2 of the 4 are dead. This is not whimsical. I am having a not fun time. All right, so you answer the riddle. You get past 1 million traps. We are going to go back and flesh these out more for anybody watching at home. We go back. We deal with the invisible stalkers. We get through trap after trap after trap after trap. Now that they have time, they can just make their way through, right? These are open room traps, so they're easy to dodge if you're not trying to fight invisible stalkers that keep dashing in and out of your combat area. We get done in that room. What happens? This is the first room where somebody's going to say, "Can I take a fucking short rest?" we're approaching the third room. So at the end of this room, we probably want to at least suggest, this area seems kind of safe. Like we can do something.
Now that there's no more traps. Yeah.
My first thought was a graveyard. Doesn't need to be real zombies inside of it or, real undead, but automata undead that rise up, because that always scared me living near a graveyard growing up, was that zombies would arise and attack me. So you get out of this fucked up trap room, there's like fog rolling in and a fake moonlight above you, and it's just mounds of freshly poured dirt and tombstones, and they poof, blast out. Does that feel safe for a short rest? Fuck no.
It does by the time you're
Absolutely not.
done with it.
When you're done, you're like, there's no more mounds of dirt. We can take a rest.
All right, so I'm going to go constructs, and I'm going to just launch. It's very, very, I do want to say, so far my favorite thing is it's fun to be like, we have a lich and no undead. There's something really powerful about that. Oh, wow. We've got some options. I want some synergy here, though.
Okay.
Who can I stick together to make this fight really, really annoying? Let me look. We've got someone's healed by something. Yes. I want to put a CR5 Candlekeep lightning construct that deals lightning damage alongside a flesh golem which is healed by lightning damage. Yeah. I want to make a really bad encounter that they're not going to like. So we can go 2 and 2, or we can do like 2 lightning golems, 1 flesh golem, and then throw something else fun in the room.
Yeah. 1 of each, and then ogre zombies. I think will hit. Ogre zombies are CR2.
So we could do like 4.
Yeah. So those are the mobs you have to take on while those 2 are actually dealing out the damage.
All right. That is going to be, and I cannot stress this enough, terrible. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be great. And then ogres. What's the max HP on a zombie ogre?
Max HP is 85.
That's perfect. Do they have undead resistance? Are they staying up?
They do. Undead fortitude.
Ideal. And also, cleric, congratulations. You have a room to use turn undead in. I'm thrilled for you. Wherever you are, fabulous. I'm very excited. Same with the paladin. We need if you're going to do a big stronghold like this, you got to have an undead. You got to have a couple of demons or devils. You got to have some fiends. You got to make sure everybody gets to, do their business here. If you made one-shot characters and somebody picked a ranger and didn't just spec to fight like undead and constructs, when you were like, yeah, he's an evil lich called the Toymaker, they should go home. They need to think about some stuff. That's not your fault. If they leave and they seem like they had a bad time, not you, not on you.
Yeah.
Okay, you get to the end of this room. The cemetery is unattended. The DM can sort of tip their hat and be like, with the creatures dead, an eerie peace falls over the room. And it would be deeply funny to be like, as you wake up and look around with the fog that filled the room now gone, you can see that the moon in the sky is not an illusion. It seems to be made of paper mache and is hanging from a rope attached to the ceiling. Sort of the fun of, there's something very funny about the way we have the Toymaker where it's like, yeah, they could use magic, but that's not fun. Wow. It's less fun than just trying to actually making like a silly little thing is in my it's the kind of thing that I would think was deeply funny.
Now what I
see shoots where the little dirt comes down.
Yeah.
The mound.
All the while we have to have like riddle dee dee, like a crystal appears and you see an illusion of the Toymaker.
All right. The next funniest thing I could think of. They're like, finally, we've taken a short rest. Next room. They open up a plain ass door. Just regular, no traps, nothing like that. And they're face to face with a big ass dragon. They just gotta fight a dragon in the next room.
Sure.
Dungeons and Dragons, baby.
If we're gonna do the dragon, we gotta kill the flame elemental.
True.
So let me make an alternate but very similar pitch. which is instead of a flame elemental turning into a campfire, how about we ruin their day? We could go, if we want to kill the party right now, we have the numbers we need to throw an ancient red dragon at them.
Oh my god, if I was a player, I'd kill myself.
But, or we could do, somehow, this is less, we could do 2 young red dragons. Or
an ancient red dragon.
Adult red dragon comes in at 17. That's the most fair option, is fight an adult red dragon. When the adult red dragon's dead, you get to kick on to the next room.
Long rest.
The only problem I see with this, how big is this fortress? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, it's magic. It's magic.
It's just magic.
For real.
You
see like a big castle on the outside. You get on top. There's 2 sphinxes sitting by the doorway, and they do their thing. You go inside. Huge. It makes no sense. This is a police box.
So maybe we should do maybe we won't do the like cardboard undead. It would be funny if you step through the room and you are in a cemetery. You smell the loamy scent of petrichor and death. The mist isn't. It's not like a vent opens, mist rolls in. Like you're like, where are we? All right, so
it's more
CR. All right, so let's get the main thing out of the way. Ancient red dragon's a bad idea. The players will die.
Adult.
2 young red gets us to CR 20. 1 adult red gets us to CR 17. We can do my favorite trick that you can now do in Dungeons and Dragons, which is we do an adult red dragon. Everything seems fine. When the adult red dragon gets to half of its max HP, we drop a CR6 animated dragon's breath. The dragon, upon reaching half HP, blasts out a terrible roar of fire into the air. That fire comes to life, taking form as an animated breath. That puts us right at CR cap. So how do we feel about that? Too deadly? It puts us at CR 23, and our encounter cap is 24.
But they just had a short rest.
They just had a short rest.
I say for now, put it in. We'll play test it, and then we'll say absolutely not, or it's fine.
So we'll do the adult red and then breath. So then let's do a puzzle room between adult red dragon and lightning flesh short rest, right? So we want another puzzle or a riddle. We kind of did a riddle. We can go in another direction. This is the one thing that we are going to have to do is make this a little less railroady. Although, Tomb of Horrors is pretty railroady.
Yeah.
As somebody who's tried to run it before, I will say Tomb of Horrors does one of 2 things. You either go down the wrong path and you encounter a deadly trap, or you go down the right path and you get to deal with the next deadly trap. Like that's pretty much what it's working with. Those like mega dungeons are built in that way pretty unapologetically until you get to like one of the most unpleasant experiences you can subject somebody to in D&D, the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at that thing. Awful. It's one dungeon. The dungeon has 1 floor per player level for like level 10 through 20. And they just go floor by floor by floor by floor by floor to get to the bottom to try to kill Hallister Blackcloak. And then I think he just runs away. I don't think you kill Hallister at the end. It's pretty brutal.
If I had unlimited time and we lived near each other and we're like, hey, who's got like a free few hours to like map out and do that, I do think would be very fun. Any other way, it would suck so hard.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
All right. So, puzzle room. Does anybody have any puzzles off the dome piece that we can put in? If the answer is no, this is going to be an off-stream thing because coming up with a fucking puzzle is crazy. It's hard to do.
I would say I can only think of pretty unfun options is the issue. Like I'm having trouble. I'm gonna adjust my mic, so I'm sorry if this is bad for people's ears. I can't think of a lot of like fun options. If I'm thinking of the sort of like classical, We could do the super classic D&D thing where it's like 3 statues stand before you with hands outstretched and empty. On the table before you is a staff, a sword, and a bow. The first statue begins to speak. It says, "Might of magic and magic of might, like in brightest day, in darkest night." And you just have to like solve 3 riddles to figure out which one needs the bow, which one needs the sword, and which one needs the staff. Is the like classical thing. Or you've got your like speak friends and enters. Michael, what's up?
I think we could do something kind of like that, but toyify it.
That's fair. Oh, mousetrap? Just the board game mousetrap? No. We can't set up the board game.
Have mousetrap.
Set up the board game mouse. Wait a minute. You're gonna say no. It's fine. Set up the board game Jenga. You have to make it through like 6 rounds of Jenga without the tower falling, or you have to fight something stupid.
Here's an alternative. Whoever messes up Jenga first, whoever drops the tower, that character loses half of their remaining hit points. Some crazy shit like that. Drop them. All their spell slots are gone. Something like that. But no, I don't think we can have secondary games on top of it.
Come on, you can get fake Jenga for like $5.
Yeah, but like the advice is like you can't even have them use Tome of Foes. I'm like, all right.
For those of you watching in the future, I've been trying to get these people to each buy a Jenga set so that we can play Dread for, I think, 5 years. I've been trying to get them to buy Jenga, and they just won't. One of these days, I'm going to go buy 6 copies of Tumbling Towers at Walmart or whatever. We are not sponsored by Walmart. Okay.
We would be.
All right. I'm just writing puzzle.
Take it. Yeah, all right. Puzzle, I think that like 3 boxes with man-sized toys are sitting in there. Their hands say, just add blank, and it's a sword. It's just add blank, and it's a bow, and they each speak when you pull on a fucking lever.
And I think the debuff is fun. One that I do think would be incredibly funny because they wouldn't know, because it would fill them with intense and unknowable dread, as being like, a powerful spell blasts into Michandis as he fails the test. None of you know what happens. The cleric walks up and they're like, oh, I'll, roll a medicine check. It's like, roll a medicine check. He seems vulnerable to fire. You don't know why. Everybody's just like, slow pan to the door into the next room. What's in there? Like, what's in there?
What could it be?
That is my literal pitch. I think that would be deeply funny. That character will die, but who cares? It's funny. And then we know what happens. You fight an adult red dragon. Is it real? Do you fight an adult red dragon because that's what like heroes do? Like, or do we? Is that the thing? Because it's like a storybook adventure. Is like, do you fight the red dragon and up in the tower there is like a prince or princess that's like, help me, please?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then when you finally do, it turns out it's just the toy maker.
Yes! Toy maker's like, fabulously done, heroes! And disappears in a puff of smoke. Yeah, of course.
But there are enough beds in the top of the tower for the players to take a long rest in, right? Some shit like that. After that room, you can take your long rest.
It has been so many years since any have bested my champions. 3, 4. Did you do the riddle in the first room? You did. 3. You fight the adult red dragon, and then it's time to get back up in the mix. You take your long rest, probably pretty uncomfortably. I imagine somebody keeps watch. It'd be funny if somebody keeps watch, and you hear over the intercom the toy maker being like, "That would be pretty unsportsmanlike of me. You don't need to worry. Like,
you can sleep. It's fine.
Are you having fun? Be honest." Like, it's pretty good. How would No,
This only goes one way, but I'm going to guess that you said yes.
we can't do too many meta jokes, but it'd be so funny for it to be like, "You've defeated him, wonderful job!" The door opens, you make your way inside, you see a beautiful feast, beds along the walls, and then there's like a blinking kiosk that's like, "Please rate your adventuring experience on a scale of 1 to 10, with a 1 being completely unsatisfied and a 10 being, I had a wonderful time." Would be pretty good.
Yeah.
And if anyone puts 1, it's like, oh, could you do that again? I didn't get that.
I didn't
Lightning
get that.
bolt.
Power word kill. Ungrateful. I worked hard on this. Okay. So you finish your long rest. We immediately need to... I want them to wake up and immediately have to do another puzzle for the joke. Of like, oh my god. Or wake up and immediately have to fight somebody. Something that I am partial to say is the first encounter is you wake up refreshed, there's breakfast on the table, all the furniture is mimics.
That's fun. My first thought was you're at the top of the tower taking your long rest. You wake up to shouts of, "Free the princess, lest you fall by my blade!" And there's like 17 knights drawn on you, and you're the monster that's keeping the princess hostage at this point. Fucking toy maker says, "Oh, help me, knights, please!
You must too!" That's pretty good. Oh gosh. All right, now we have to Spencer flip a coin. Do you have a dice in front of you?
I do have dice.
Do you want odds or evens?
Evens. Odds.
Odds. Mimics.
Like mimics.
Everybody likes them. We have to.
They're really well trained mimics, though. They don't attack until the next day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
They go to open the door, and the door's a mimic, and it bites them. Like, what the fuck? And then they fall back, and a chair's a mimic. Yeah, of course.
And so what we can do here that I think is a good idea is we can do a horde mimic and like 4 giant mimics. Yeah, that's pretty good. Or we could do, excuse me, if you want only me as a DM to have fun, this is when I would be like, no, there's 12 mimics. There's 12 CR2 mimics. Get chopping, boys. Like, you got work to do. But I feel like nobody you played with would ever talk to you again if you did that. So let's call it like a horde mimic, a couple of giant mimics, and a couple of normal mimics, right? It's just...
Yeah.
The joke is just that it is a mimic fight. This is very important for us to play test because I think it would be incredibly slapstick and hilarious for everybody to keep getting stuck because mimics, you get like adhered to them if you touch them.
Mm-hmm.
That joke happening 50 times, I think would be very funny, but I'm aware that not everybody shares my sense of repeated humor. So you're sweating from the mimic fight. Next, is this when the knights knock on the door to the tower, or do we do something else?
I feel like I want to get out of this area after the 2 fights. Otherwise, yes.
How can we... All right, so if we're sticking with this like adventurous fun angle, we can keep the same premise. Go into the next room, and you're staring down the barrel of a Death Knight. Classic CR17, just a very deadly paladin on a nightmare or whatever. And it's like, you're in my lair or whatever. Like, it could be that. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing about the Corellan being the... It's a good one. It's a good joke, Mike. It's a perfect joke. It's a perfect bit. Save me, please. It's so good. So I could see us having some... I want it to be like a character foil, because I think character foils are fun. We could do a Death Knight is like the anti-paladin. Do we have like an anti-cleric kicking around? A lot of the high CRs that are between like 14 and 18 are meant to be sort of character reflect. Oh, I tried to sort by that, and now I'm in Dragon Town. I love that when D&D gets backed into a corner, they're like, when Wizards of the Coast gets back into a corner, they're like, put a dragon in it. They love dragons. Everybody
It's
likes
just a
it.
dragon.
You always do like the mirror house and have you like fight yourself, like your anti-self. Yeah. But that it make you like 1v1, but makes it hard.
I know, it's just. Can I tell you one that's too self-indulgent? Is it would be deeply funny for it to be like, you've made it into the next room. A giant portal opens. You have to fight my dickhead coworker, Dave. A demi-lich drops from the top of the room onto the floor. Get him! I'm serious. If you kill Dave, I'm gonna be so jazzed. No one's killed him yet. I thought this was a better idea than it was. It's no, he's so powerful.
So we have anti-martial with the Death Knight. Then we've got
Anti-paladin.
Anti-paladin. We could have anti-cleric with just some version of a devil.
Yeah. We have
baked in.
anti-warlock with the Eldritch Lich. This is where we get into like the giants are all here, and I'm looking at it, and I have my previews of Big B Presents The Glory of the Giants, and it looks like the rest of the new giants will also all be in the same CR range, so that might be helpful. We got that ghost, the ghost of the red dragon you killed. It's like, no way! I'm back! Again, I think Spencer would think that was deeply funny. Wait. A Hellfire engine is a big devil car that could just roll up and be like,
The Death Knight is inside the Hellfire engine.
we can't do it. We can do something in the Hellfire engine. It can't be a Death Knight, or the players are gonna die.
Fair.
No one, and I
Gladiator.
repeat, no one will limp away from that particular wreck. All right. Making our way through, let's look at the fiends. I like the Hellfire engine. I like the Knight. But I think the fiend thing, Spencer, you said that earlier too. And I think you make a good point. Gosh, it's so funny the kinds of things that you can fight when you get up into this level range. That the game is just like, you're fine.
Everything.
You could do this. It's like, can I? It doesn't. We've got like a big knoll fight. We could do a Balrog joke. We could just do it's a bunch of cars. I don't know I really don't know how the rules work for the cars. From
I mean, you did cars. It would just be a hot rod reference.
But what would be happening in this fight? I think I can't, in good conscience, allow car fight if it's a bunch of cars.
But we have infernal war machines, so like the party could arrive to find the huge vehicle, the Tormentor, which can seat 4 medium creatures, could be sitting there, and we could do car fight. It just means going up to the players and being like, here's another set of rules to learn super quick. You're in a car, they're in a bunch of cars, try to survive. I mean, it's funny. It is funny. I just don't know if it's gonna sort of hold up. Hellfire engines, if they kill people, they are automatically jettisoned into the river Styx and turned into lemures, so that could put a little bit of a thorn in the side of this adventure. It sounds like the car idea, much like this really good rat idea I had the other week, is going to go the way of the dodo.
I think we do a car thing, another thing though, at some point. Because
No,
that
it's-
sounds so fun.
No, it's fine. Spencer just hates all my ideas. It's okay. It's good. No, it's fine. It's super fun to just say another idea.
So how many more CR are we rocking with? We have the Death Knight out. How many more can we throw in?
Death Knight is Death Knight. I think we're chilling at what, CR 17 with the Death Knight.
He's not on my list.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
challenge rating 17. Can't believe I remember that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of jokes that, like I said, we're trying to stick with this, like, childlike sense of what adventuring means. It could be, I don't know. It would be tough to write if we could do a funny succubus joke. We could do a pretty funny succubus joke right now. That would be a little bit of a tough sell. Merregon, Merregon, are the, like, defensive troopers of hell. They are sort of Roman legionnaires in hell armor. That's pretty good. A night hag could be fun. A night hag as sort of the, like, support, being like, he diddle dee dee.
So if we could put a few Merrigan, Night Hag, Death Knight, something like that thrown
What?
in.
We could
What is
do
the CR of a succubus?
4.
Or I could see it being it's the I was gonna say Death Knight.
Yeah.
No, what's the knight we're running with? Dark.
Death Knight.
It is
Death Knight.
Death Knight.
Yeah, you got
Okay, cool. It could be the Death Knight's like princess.
That's
I'm
funny.
trying to think of a joke.
If we go Death Knight Night Hag, we can have one Night Hag and that clocks us in at CR 22. If we go Death Knight
Okay.
Succubus, we got a lot of numbers to work with. If we go Death Knight Merrigan, we would be throwing. We would cap out at throwing 2 Merrigan in. It would be Death Knight 2 Merrigan. And I'm telling you right now, that would be a really hard fight. They are high CR. Merrigan are AC 16, HP 45. And the Merrigan can tank hits for allies within 5 feet. So it would just be locking you down in a like 10 encounter and like a 10 round encounter with the Death Knight. The Night Hag is basically is just really has like shape change etherealness and nightmare haunting. So unfortunately the Night Hag in theory is a good idea, but they're made to like Night Hags are meant for like a challenge rating 5 party to be like, oh, the village is being terrorized. They aren't really built for this. So we could do the 2 Merrigans and a Death Knight, but I feel the need to say that would be I would be reticent to throw that at most of the players I've had before. Just because you're keeping that Death Knight around for so long.
Would the Succubus do anything interesting? Because there again, like you put them in the bar, and then the bard hooks up with it, and then you have them face the consequences. They're not really a combatant.
I'm gonna be so real with you guys. If we had the money to have somebody that's not a straight white man on staff, we could probably do that joke. I can't think of a tasteful version of that joke.
No, absolutely not. I'm just saying I don't think that it will fly in combat in any meaningful way.
They can charm is the thing. They like charm. They lock you down that way, and you start fighting your allies, and that's sort of the help that they have to offer. We could do a Hell Wasp. A Hell Wasp is a challenge rating 5, sort of like striker type build, made to like fly in, attack, and fly out. That might be a good idea. That's hitting us with poison and paralysis.
If we wanted more undead, we're at another new day here, so turn undead would probably negate this, but it could be a handful of whites with the Death Knight.
That would be pretty good.
With a G. With a G.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, that could be fun. There's a monster stat block that nobody uses. An Eye of Fear and Flame.
What?
From one of the little bonus packets that have come out in D&D's long tenure. They're just spooky and kind of fun. One of the many monstrous compendiums. Let me see. We got.
All right, where do we?
Eidolons. What's up?
There's regular knights. If we're looking for just low CR add-ons that would fit with a Death Knight, then there's whites. There's the Succubus. There's a Night Hag. Do any of those jump out as being particularly useful?
Can I make a late game pitch here?
Sure. Yeah, you're out.
All right. No, we could do a vampire and 2 Nosferatu. We could do a vampire and a Nosferatu and hit him with like a pretty heavy, or a vampire and a couple of thralls. That might be kind of fun.
Okay, so you open up into like a desecrated churchyard.
Hello!
You go inside.
You must now face me and my many servants.
They're all drifting with a big cloak on top of them.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a vampire or 2 vampire spawn. That's CR 23 encounter.
Easy. Vampire spawn walk out acting like regular people, like, oh, help us, there's something wrong inside.
It's so funny to imagine the party getting to the like real nose pinch as two people are like, please come inside, my father is ill. And they're like, yeah, no.
Sure.
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
He is. Yeah, let's go inside,
What are
everybody.
his symptoms? He's really thirsty all the time. All right. He has really big teeth all of a
Please,
sudden.
you must help our
Cool.
father. He hasn't eaten in days. It's like, all right.
We would like to invite you to dinner.
Bum, bum, ba. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That'll do it. That'll do it for me.
All right. So we do a mimic fight and then a vampire fight, which means, unfortunately, I'm just going to write puzzle one more time.
And another puzzle, baby.
Puzzle or riddle.
I feel like we haven't done enough traps. I think that we're going to tie in some traps in some side rooms here.
Well, every puzzle's a
Alright.
trap.
I have
True.
I have an idea for a trap. It's a throwback to our last or not our last, but or on the other side of the world that's happening right now. We could have a trap that minimizes people.
It shrinks you down, and then you're fighting like
Yes. It's so funny. Michael, you've made the best joke ever. It's because it's a trap that shrinks you down if you do it wrong. And then when they get shrunk down, they have to fight a purple worm, and it's just a worm.
Jesus Christ. Regular worm.
CR15 purple worm. It's not even like a super hard encounter. It's just going to be an annoying encounter that's going to lock you down and is like totally optional. So there's a trap. You fail the trap. You get shrunken, and a little worm is like a big dune worm to you now.
Perfect.
You kill the dune worm, and now you go back to full size, and you're just standing in a field, and it's like, could take a short rest.
Definitely short rest area.
Yeah, we're gonna put traps in all these fights, like the vampire fight and everything. We could do like
There's always trapped rooms.
there's a coffin behind the vampire if you try to open it, and we do need to add some rooms to the sides. Again, we don't want this to be too much of a like, there's one way to go,
Oh, yeah.
you have to go our way. So by adding, we'll pad each of these rooms out, these like encounters out by a couple of rooms, build some like terrain levels, the kind of stuff that you want in D&D, pretty much in general.
Yeah, this is just main area sort of talk.
What's classic D&D stuff that we don't have? We don't have like a nature room yet.
And we only have
Like
one room left.
werewolves.
So we've
Werewolves
done,
aren't on brand for before a lich.
we did sphinxes, we did invisible stalkers and a bunch of traps. We did the lightning construct, flesh construct, and a bunch of ogres. We did puzzle debuff, we did adult red dragon, we did mimic, we did vampires, we did trap with a purple worm, and we're going to do a lich at the end. We've really run the D&D bases in a very real way. The only thing we are missing is like it's like a pit fiend. Like that's what we're missing at this point, but fun
Pit
fact,
fiend standing there, a Balrog, and says, "You shall not pass." Then you have to fight the Balrog.
I've been doing our series of videos in the Nine Hells, which has just led me to just spending a lot of time sitting with pit fiends can have a summoner variant that can summon other devils, which is already pretty brutal. Pit fiends have one of the weirdest imbalances in D&D, which is pit fiends are a holdover from when they assumed, right, that the party was brewing potions and getting armor for quests. And so pit fiends can at will cast fireball. So a pit fiend can just throw a fireball, it can just fly 60 feet in the air and throw a fireball once around every round from 60 feet in the air and just nuke any party they want from orbit, because they're an old monster from like first edition. And so the DM in first edition was like, well, the party is going to go in the room that I designed before the pit fiend, and they're going to get the 6 potions of fire resistance. Obviously. Like,
here's my pitch. You walk into the next room. It's a wizard's tower filled with archmages. you gotta beat their asses. You're wasting fucking counter spells, all the good stuff you have to fight a lich. Then you go into the next room and you fight the lich, and you're like, damn it, we already burned our good anti-wizard stuff fighting a bunch of wizards.
Yeah, I mean,
fight a lich.
2 archmages is a uncomfortable 24 CR 24 from 2 of those bad boys. I mean, look at who else we have in the sort of arch,
The caster,
in the sort of the sort of wizard. Oh, I didn't know this. Spencer, are you on D&D Beyond?
I'm on the SRD.
Okay, if you go to D&D Beyond and you just search wizard, there are stat blocks for Abjurer Wizard, Conjurer Wizard, Diviner Wizard,
wow.
Enchanter Wizard, Evoker Wizard. There's just wizards left, right, and center.
What if we did one for each of the schools, and then the Arc Wizard, just one, and then a bunch of regular ass.
Unfortunately, I don't know if the number's going to crunch. So we start with a CR5 with a Transmutation Wizard. Then we hit CR9 for Necromancer. That puts us up at 14. Illusionist comes in at CR3 for 17. Okay, well. And then Evoker would launch us into the stratosphere. That's another CR9, so we're up at 26. What could be fun is we could do an Evoker and a Necromancer would be 18. We could do an Evoker, a Necromancer, and a Conjurer, and that would be 9, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 would scooch us in at max.
Nice. That could do it.
Guys, I love this, and we're having a lot of fun describing this. No party is going to survive this. No party is going to get to the lit. Again, I'm fine with us saying we're going to make the TTRP guy Tomb of Horrors. We just have to be honest with ourselves.
It's the Tomb of Whimsy. It's right on the box.
I think we'll have 2 versions. The Tomb of Whimsies and the lesser version.
As the guy that writes the stat blocks, Michael, I think we're only going to do one.
Yeah, it's going to be one version.
I guess we could.
It's so long.
All right.
To stat out more.
So now we need.
Well, I think the lesser version would just be decrease take out 3 of the encounters or something.
Yeah, I mean, by the books, I want to be clear. This is balanced. By the numbers, this is the right creatures to attack them, and we are hitting the right CR. We haven't gone over a single time over budget on any of them. And if you try to do it the D&D monster manual way, that table doesn't work. There's a popular conspiracy theory that I believe in. Wizards of the Coast, we have our differences. I like some of the stuff that you put out. There is a literal conspiracy theory going on that they purposefully put bad encounter math in so that people would buy the adventures, which I think is deeply funny. So we need to beef up our lich fight, right? I want this lich to live. He is challenge rating 21. We don't, which gives us no wiggle room. It gives us a CR3 creature of wiggle, which is not good. So what is the most annoying thing? I'm fine if the conclusion we come to is we need to come up with an annoying monster. That's okay. But what is something that is challenge rating 3 that is going to just really complicate everything? It's just going to make this fight, is really going to mess with the way that the party's going to want this to go. I'm scrolling through.
Gelatinous cube.
Crab folk from the Fiendish Folio. No, I'm kidding. Unfortunately, not gonna get it done. We need to make up for the deficiencies of a lich, is the problem. And liches don't have a lot of deficiencies. They are AC 17. They have a speed of 30 feet. They can make themselves fly. They have power word kill. They can paralyze. They are toughies, as it were. I was really hoping that by stalling that long, somebody else would have something to say.
No, I'm also looking below the 3 to see if there's swarms of things we can throw in that'll be just super annoying. But when you get too low, they're just never going to hit the party, so they're not going to be dealt with. They don't really give a shit.
Yeah, you need something that's going to be affecting them in some other irksome or annoying way.
They're in a really confined space, and a big gelatinous cube is walking right towards them the entire time.
Blah, 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 blah. That is pretty good. Oof. Manticore would be pretty mean. A mummy could be fun.
I did look at Mummy for a second back there.
Another layer of potential paralysis would turn this pretty sick nasty. We could put the toy maker on a nightmare. We could just give the toy maker a horse.
I was looking at Rug of Smothering.
Yeah, sure. No, note to self, they didn't like. Not big on the.
I like the nightmare. I'm just also looking at more names.
I have a very confusing list in front of me, and it just says were-rats, horses. What
could this mean?
I'm having trouble figuring out what they don't like about this game. Is it personal? It feels starting to feel kind of personal. What does a spectator have to offer me? Spectator, beholderkin, with some eye rays. We have confusion, paralysis, fear, and wounding. Yikes. And spell reflection. Do liches. ...
Do liches have a hover or flight speed? Or are they toes on the ground?
No, the assumption is that upon entry into combat, a lich is probably going to cast something that would let them fly. But by the books, we don't really have a way to do that. That is the function that but they have animate dead. So in like round 1, if it's me controlling them, which it would be, I'm going to be the word. Round 1, I'm saying I'm a lich. I'm like, the lich casts animate dead, which is not concentration. I'm casting animate dead at like a 5th level, getting like 12 undead, and then putting down cloud kill for necrotic damage that doesn't hurt the undead, and then I'm doing dominate monster and saying stand in the cloud kill. Like, this is the problem. In the hands of the wrong DM, the lich doesn't need help. Like, if we're in the right situation, the lich does not need backup. It's just, I'm trying to operate under the assumption that the DM who runs this might not know how to pull their punches, or might not know how to make a lich really quite scary.
Because looking at the list, I'm just trying to think if there's an environmental hazard. You know, you walk out and you're in the water.
Well, wouldn't you know it?
Good fucking luck.
We're back to the nightmare, which has a fly speed of 90 feet. The lich glaring through the skies.
That'll do it. I think that, and then have constructs, regular, like, you know, animate dead construct.
Do I have, like,
around?
Let me get something more fun, though, that can fly.
No, the
unicorn.
dragon.
I'm not getting the heat from, like, unicorn's better. Like, I'm not getting what I want from the nightmare, right? It's a lich. It doesn't make sense. What's the connection here? And it's losing me.
Do we want like a baby dragon?
A monster that's not out yet. In Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants. It's challenge rating 3, Giant Goose. Honk! Honk! The fear that would possess me if it was just honk, honk. I'd be like, no, we're all gonna die out here.
I feel bad putting another dragon in.
I think the Giant Goose. Oh no, a Manticore is CR3 with fly.
Hey.
Giant Goose, I don't know. I won't know until tomorrow. It's just Mother Goose and Grim.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely get what you're pulling. I love it.
My only issue with adding in an outside stat block that's not in the SRD is that I don't think we can use it.
I've been pulling left, right, and center from outside the SRD, right?
I don't know. I think for the most part they're SRD, but we can go through it later just to be
Invisible Stalker is base game.
SRD, yeah.
Purple Worm. The wizards are not. None of the wizards are. None of the wizards are. The lightning elemental, the lightning construct almost certainly is not. The flesh construct probably is.
Yes.
The lightning we can swap out with some kind of elemental that would be relevant. The undead ogres should be fine. The adult red dragon should be fine. Most of those mimics have got to go, so we're probably going to do the night thing. I didn't know that was an aspect of this.
I just thought they were all in the base.
No,
base
what
game.
I do normally, and I will say this for any because we're trying to demystify, what I did in this packet that is coming out is I just came up with monsters because it was easier for me. It's just I just wrote 8 stat blocks because it was just a little bit more direct and gave us the options to avoid SRD stuff. So with that in mind, I think we can try to be like inspired here then. We have 10 minutes. So I'm closing out my D&D Beyond tab. We have 3 CR to play with. What are we missing? We are qualified to just come up with a monster. We can just write the stats out. What are we feeling? I want the lich. The lich being able to fly is kind of fun. Some version of terrain in this room is very important because if it's the lich in a big empty 30 by 30 room, this fight's over in 13 seconds. So I need them up, right? I want the lich up on something, blasting down attacks and sort of a Fantasia kind of thing. Michael, what's up?
So the instant thought I had was with have him. It's a monster. It's like marionette strings. It's letting him fly, and it grapples or other things.
You're talking like a master hand.
Yeah, basically.
Grabs him, scoops him up, attacks things.
Yeah, it works with his toy creator motif.
I could see that.
Yeah. So I think it's either that, or I think Spencer's initial thought is right. I think it's either that, or it's we come up with an annoying low CR monster, and we put 12 in the room, and that's the fight.
And that would be the marionettes.
So
all whoop ass while he's on top of a big cliff, blasting lightning bolts.
So we can either do 3 CR1 creatures or 6 CR1/2 creatures. The stakes of that are very simple. A level 16 player might need to hit will need to hit a CR1 creature twice to kill it on average. CR1 creatures are usually they're like north of 15 HP. So they are going to take 2. Sometimes they're up in like the 40s. So a CR1 creature will take 2 hits to kill. A CR1/2 creature will take 1 hit to kill. So we can either have 3 creatures that are going to take 2 hits to kill, or we can have 6 creatures that are going to take 1 hit to kill. Keep in mind, a smart DM controlling the lich will quickly make undead to just sort of block between the two.
I would say 6 half creatures.
So how can we
they're
make them
wooden marionettes?
How can we make them just so annoying? Like, do they explode when they die? That's my first thought. Is that like they explode and do damage to everybody around them, or maybe they're CR1/2. They all have counterspell. They can each cast counterspell once a day. Those are the sort of things that are. If we are aiming for cruelty.
What's the ability rangers have? True Strike, I think.
Hunter's Mark?
No, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong class.
What are you trying to do?
Where you give another creature advantage on an attack against a creature.
Yeah, that's the cantrip True Strike.
I could see a True Strike being an option. When they hit you, you get True Strike on you, so the Lich now has advantage when it attacks you. Option 1. Option 2, I think Explosion is always fun. And the other one that you had said was...
They just each have counterspell ones.
Counterspell.
I think cut counterspell. I like the idea of one of these two. I think either they have an effect that is like Bane. If they hit you, you take a -1d4 to the next saving throw or attack roll that you do.
That's fun.
Or they explode, or both.
I think Bane works closer with the Lich's abilities. Instead of whittling down health, it just makes it easier for the Lich to fuck you up.
So for creep factor, my thought is you see these marionettes like appear and start sprinting at the party. They have suspended above them this thing. When they when they get a successful hit, they don't do any damage, but the strings grapple onto the player, and it's basically just Bane. It's a Bane without concentration. We'll say the marionette strings have a CR of 10 and they have 10 HP. It's literally just meant to be like somebody's got to burn an action. They have to burn their attack to cut the strings to get rid of this minus D4 to everything that you're trying to do. Or just disadvantage if we want to be really mean about it.
I think D4. I think minus the D4. I think a Bane is perfect. And the strings, incredible.
So we have 6 of these things, and the other thing I like about that is if they hit you, they die. The strings just attach to you. That's their goal. So it doesn't matter if the players kill a bunch of them. They are meant to work for one round only. The Liches do get layer actions. They get a spell slot back. They get they target one creature and they strike it with negative energy.
Just fuck up the vibes.
The Lich, a crackling cord of negative energy tethers the Lich to the target. Whenever the Lich takes damage, the target makes a DC 18 con save or takes the damage.
That's rough.
The Lich takes half damage and the other person takes the other half. That's pretty brutal. And then the Lich calls forth a spirit that attacks one creature. They make a DC 18 con save. Or take 15d6 necrotic damage. What do you mean? What do you
potential 90 necrotic damage?
What do you mean by that? You can't just say 15d6 like it's a number. What? Okay.
So much.
Should we do less marionettes?
Nah, nope.
All right.
The party knows what they're getting into.
We'll find out in playtest.
It's true.
If our playtesters get that far.
Do we want to do anything to this Lich? We have 4 precious minutes. I think we either have time for a bit or we have time to do something to make this Lich the toy makery.
I think toy makery. I think animate dead or raise dead or whatever it is animate construct. That's an easy flip. He's not raising a bunch of skeletons and zombies. He's raising a bunch of automata.
Okay.
That works.
So like delightful illusions, because we've been using a lot more illusion than like tinkering.
Yeah.
True.
Actually, pointedly, we have not been using illusions. It's just been a series of real fights.
Where is there he is. All right, I got the Lich pulled up. All the spells are fine. I'm not gonna mess with that because they're already incredibly annoying.
Can I there's one I want to mess with.
Yeah.
Power word kid. The Lich points at a creature. The Lich points at a creature with less than 100 HP. They DH like 20 years. They become a child.
Their strength 9, Constitution 10.
There's something deeply funny of like for the next round until the end of the Lich's next turn, you're a baby. Maybe
it's essentially stunning them.
Or it replaces a layer action. Like that could be fun. Instead of 15d6 damage, the Lich chooses a party member. Until the end of next round, that party member is 7 years old. And all of their stats are 4. And they're just like, this sucks.
That's fun.
Yeah. The only other spell I see adding, the one that makes you laugh.
Tasha's Hideous Laughter?
Yeah, I can see him having that.
Yeah, that would be really good. That would be good. We could replace
Frightening Gaze.
Yeah, replacing Frightening Gaze could be a lot of fun.
With the same stats essentially and the same
Pretty much.
outcome, but instead it's them laughing instead of being terrified.
Yeah, so instead of being afraid every time you look at them, you cannot help but erupt into laughter. You have disadvantage on everything you do for the next round. Is pretty good.
Yeah.
Everything else about this seems fine to me. We've got those 4 first level spell slots. Those are all going to get used on shield to make the first round of combat really, really annoying. Gosh, I'm sorry. It's just, this is going to be, I'm doing the math as a DM and I'm like, shield and mirror image and animate dead and cloud kill and globe of invulnerability and finger of death and power word stun and power word kill. And I'm like, how is any party supposed to fight a lich? I'm excited to playtest this just because I want to see how many, what's the kill count going to be? Like, how quick are party members going to just start to drop? Something I think if we end up playtesting more like big content like this that I'm going to steal is, in the intro for MCDM's book Flea Mortals, where is it? It's in the foreword. One of the people they thank, the work of dozens of authors, artists, community managers, consultants, editors, and producers, the ingenuity of hundreds of playtesters, and the death of 165 player characters, may they rest in peace, is on there. I think we should definitely keep track of the kill count of the Tomb of Whimsy.
And I feel like all we would have to do is when it's a TPK, we go back to the start of that room and just say, do it again and see if you can do it. And if you fuck up too many times, all right, we have to rebalance it. But just like you go back from the start, same characters, run through. You died again, run through. You died again. Okay, this is not balanced enough. We have to reformat.
It could be fun to do it like a fun sort of roulette would be everybody makes a couple of level 16 characters, and it's like, all right, we TPK'd. Everybody grab a new character sheet, go back through,
Roll it again.
Roll it one mo. We'll have to try to replicate it though, so it'll be like level 16 with like, what would it be, like 4 pieces of gear, one uncommon, one uncommon, one
Fully
rare,
attuned.
one very rare. See what the vibe is.
All right, well, why else you have like 4 barbarians?
You win the fight is probably what's going to happen. Okay, so I think this is really fun, and we're 1 minute past time. For coming up with this fast, I had a lot of fun, and I think this is a really funny dungeon that puts a lot of really interesting sort of pressures on the characters. I don't have anything else to do right now, so I think we are good to go, unless you guys want to stream for 3 more hours and flush out the dungeon. Hi, welcome to
Baldur's Gate.
Hey everybody, welcome to Riddle Talk. This is our podcast under the podcast where we just come up with the riddles that we say we're going to come up with later.
This is later. We're here.
Absolutely wretched.
That's everything. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. You can catch this stream same day, same time of the week. We started about 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Besides that, you can catch our Theros actual play where I'm the DM, Michael and Ethan are players. You have a couple other players with us as well. That's every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. We crush some Gorgons and Medusas and Minotaur, etc. The party has lost a couple people, but they're still trucking.
They've lost.
Those couple people were both Ethan.
They've lost me 2 times. I play my D&D characters like you drive a stolen car, and I think I'm right. We would have a sort of a fun. I don't know if we could do it with everybody though. We would reach a point where the party would look around and they'd be like, "Wait, none of us talked to the old wizard that gave us the quest. We're all replacements. This can't. Should we just stop? Should we just go do something else?"
We can just open a bar. Check out our website, ttrpguy.com, our TikTok, follow us there, subscribe to us on YouTube, TTRP Guy all around, Twitch, etc.